Are you happy? Did you wake up this morning feeling happy? Are you happy now? Well, if you are, don't worry. I will cure you of that problem. Now, if you go over to the New Culture Forum, after you watch this video, New Culture Forum, you will find a video over there. It's, I think, the 5th or 6th last video they made. And it's called How to Return the Church to God, etc., etc. Slightly cumbersome title. And it features a man called Calvin Robinson. That's a problematic name, Robinson. But anyhow, Calvin Robinson, he is, as he describes himself, a man of colour. And he's a religious man, a Christian, and he had ambitions to become a minister of some sort in the Church of England. Is that the same thing? I think the Church of England. He had ambitions to become a minister. And but he didn't succeed in his ambitions. You see, the Church of England is very, very woke. In fact, it's been woke for a long time now. And they are going out of their way to promote diversity in the church. They want more and more brown people and more black people and more half-caste people, just like Calvin. But Calvin has a problem. You see, Calvin has all the wrong opinions. Calvin is actually quite an outrageous man. Let me tell you what this man believes. He believes that British people are not racist. He believes that Britain is not a racist country. Imagine that now. So Calvin is a black man, a person of colour, who has all the wrong opinions. Now, he's also a very articulate man and quite a charming man. The sort of man, in fact, the perfect man for a woke religion. He's got it all. As I say, intelligent, articulate. I suppose you could say he's a good-looking man, a presentable-looking man. All of that. But the Church of England don't want him. Because, as I say, he has a few wrong, problematic opinions. Now, I'm smiling at this, and I recommend you watch the video if you haven't watched it. But of course, it's not funny. But when you're finished watching Calvin explaining his adventures with the Church of England, with the woke Church of England, and like I said, do watch it, it's very good. You might want to, when you finish watching that, you might want to type into YouTube Jesus and John Wayne. Now, Jesus and John Wayne is the title, or maybe it's John Wayne and Jesus. It's the title of a book that was published a while back. It's become a bestseller. And essentially what this book says is that all white Christians who voted for Trump are racists, they're disgusting, they're a stain on the face of the earth and a stain on Christianity, and they should all dig a deep hole and commit suicide and jump into it. Now this book, or rather this, you'll see if you type that in, Jesus, John Wayne, hundreds of videos. Book is a great bestseller, and there are hundreds of videos analysing it, etc., etc. And almost every school of divinity has put up in America has put up a video about this. And they are all, if you want to get really angry or really, really depressed, watch a few of these videos. They are genocidally anti-white. They are extreme examples of self-hatred and self-loathing. It's rabid. And this is essentially the Main Street Church in America now. It's woke. It's totally woke. And it is genocidally woke. And I use that word deliberately. If you doubt for a second that we're heading for genocide, watch some of these videos. The hatred of whiteness is pathological, really pathological. And I warn you in advance, you watch a few of these videos and you will be depressed. But maybe that's a good thing, because maybe you'll get angry. And people need to get angry. Now, of course, the Catholic Church in Ireland is also well and truly on its way to being woke. And, I was sitting here last night and, well, this has nothing to do with religion, what I'm about to say now, but I was sitting here last night and I was thinking, for the very first time in my life, I have no idea what's going on in the world. I was thinking this, sitting here, and it was very odd. It felt very strange, but I was thinking of the war in Ukraine. And you can't switch on your radio to find out, because it's just all propaganda. You can't buy a newspaper to watch out. It's propaganda. You can't watch the TV to find out what's going on. It's just propaganda. And I had this real sense last night sitting here of being in a bunker, and outside, and everything outside was the enemy. I had this real feeling of being under siege, because I do find myself, for the first time in my life, having no access to any information about what's going on in the outside world. All my life I read newspapers or listened to the radio or watched TV, and you found out what's going on, but all of that's been closed off now. And I really had that sense, and I know I'm repeating myself, but I have this almost paranoid sense of being stuck in this concrete shell of a flat, cut off from the rest of the world, not knowing what is going on. Quite a disturbing feeling. And the problem was, of course, it wasn't paranoia, it wasn't my overactive imagination, it's a simple fact. If you're a person living in Ireland or in any of these, in England or any of these woke societies now, you get up in the morning and you can't switch on the radio. Not if you want to news, if you want to find out what's going on. There is no way. Now, there was a time you could maybe Google something, but Google is also now totally fixed. And I think a lot of people don't realise this. Now, YouTube has been fixed. You Google anything on YouTube now, and you will have just mainstream media outlets. Hundreds of them. Once upon a time, if you wanted to know something about Tommy Robson, you put in Tommy Robson, and you might get the man himself, or you get ordinary people discussing him. Now it's just purely, you'll get a list of mainstream media outlets, and you will have to churn through those for hours, literally hours, before you might, just by accident, find some independent report on Tommy Robson or whatever. But that's really all I wanted to say. Douglas Murray has just brought out a book, The War on Europe. And he's right to call it a war, because this is a war. We are at war. We are at war just as surely as Russia and Ukraine are at war. This is pure warfare. And you and everyone else, you need to start getting angry, really angry, and fast. Now, it's interesting that Douglas Murray called his book The War on Europe, because he has avoided using that word for a long time. Now, I haven't read the book yet. I will be reading it, but I've watched a lot of the interviews about this book. And Douglas Murray, you can tell by these interviews that Douglas Murray he's beginning to realize that this really is a war, an actual war. And, you know, prior to this, Douglas Murray, he was behaving as if this is a serious political situation, but nothing more than that. I think the penny is beginning to drop with Douglas Murray, that this is the real world, this is real life, this is really happening. And that very soon this will be irreversible. I think he also understands now that this is actually fascism. And we need to start calling this fascism, because that's what it is. It's a new kind of fascism, but it's fascism. And it's taking over our societies and every sector of our societies. You know, this is not something that you're reading in a book or you're watching on television. This is real life. This is real life, and we're running out of time. And it's time to get angry, really angry. Because if people don't start getting angry, then very soon this is going to be all over, and there will be no coming back from it. And future generations will be living under fascism, because this is fascism. And if you read these books, if you look at these YouTube channels I recommended, if you Google Jesus and John Wayne, and you listen to this self-loathing, you will inevitably come to the conclusion that this is genocidal. This anti-white hatred, this anti-whiteness thing is literally genocidal. You cannot pump out this level of anti-white hatred without ending up with a genocide. You really can't. This is the real thing. This is not, as I say, it's not something on the radio or something you read in a book. This is the real thing.